Good morning, everybody here. Good morning, everyone. Leadership this morning, same schedule this week for board, Wednesday, Thursday, at 3 p.m. Fridays at 9:30. And as it was said, I'm going to drop some meetings at 1 p.m. Please be in your seats about 10 minutes earlier. You'll see a lot of state troopers in the house today, so just to make your job easier, get in the chamber 10 minutes ahead of time. That would be greatly appreciated. Today we passed H78, which was the surplus Australian ballot bill. Tomorrow will be third reading for freshman legislators. I have been asked to actually suspend rules to message that to the Senate after the third reading, which is kind of unusual that they want to get out of here for local elections. So usually it's just third reading, it's a day, and of course over the Senate. I will ask the message it tomorrow. I know they get this from energy and digital infrastructure. The name of the committee will be moving or has moved to the room next to you this year on the second floor. So that frees up room 41 again. Might be, I don't know, see everybody from that committee. So are you in that room?
Yeah, it's not, the electricity to the table isn't connected yet,
Okay.
and they're using it today for security.
Okay. Okay. So that frees up 41 where they would probably. I am told that next week, Caucus and education move up to the density. So for those who have not been up there, if you coming through the loading dock doors, you see those steel stairs straight ahead when you enter the building. Cold rooms to the left, and stairs are straight ahead. If you go up there and open the door, education will be the room will be to the left, and Caucus room will be to the right. Also up in that area, there's a hallway. If you travel down there, need your key to access the door, to open the door. There are supposed to be 4 meeting rooms. They're small. They're like the old West Council room offices. But you'd be able to, I wouldn't say rent them, but you get an opportunity for a certain time to use space. We actually need a constituent or something else somewhere, but stage you. And the deadline for bill submission is this Friday, January 31st. And then you will have until February 20th. I know the 31st is the deadline. Double checking whether the 20th is the date to get your signatures and submit the bill completed. I think that's all I have. Today. I don't know if anyone has any else that they want to talk about. I know Alan has a bill coming up. Say it out, so. Did you want to say anything about that?
I don't want anybody else to say anything.
Anyone else, Brenda?
How do we know, because I knew what bills the Republicans should vote on? I mean, without, are you allowed to tell me? Because I want to be like proactive with saving taxpayer money, and I know the Republicans are all doing that.
How do you know what bills happen? So
No, to vote on, like,
oh, the vote.
yeah.
Well, they'll be in the calendar. You'll see their calendar today. You'll see notice, which means that it's on notice. It will be up for action the next day.
And how do we know the money part?
Oh, the
See it,
donations, well, in the bill itself, it will say, now $1 million is appropriated to the department. whatever that was going to try to do.
Okay,
One good thing to look at is like comments like this in a really good way. We'll talk about bills that are coming up over the week. So we'll say, hey, this bill's coming out. Look in your calendar too. It'll tell you the vote out of committee. And it'll, if it's like, say it's 8:30, go talk to people on that committee and why they voted no on it. And you can get really good information. But like this caucus right here is for something we can talk about, you know, what we don't like about a bill or what can be, questions we just, we need to get answered before we move forward. So, and then the bill will have an appropriation, and you'll see if you've been, the appropriating any money, the tax hike on it. So yeah, there's half the people on that committee too.
okay, just another thing that concerns me is the A3. I mean, most of the time, the Republicans want to save taxpayer dollars, but we're kind of like batting our heads against the wall when you're on the committee with 8 people that don't mind spending the money.
Right, and we saw today, that that building committee to have 0 So we hear about.
Oh, so then there's
Yes,
some farms, so.
correct. A lot of them, they come up. And so we are getting, so. Yes.
And when- But you can't see who's the mayors or the answers, right? When it comes out to committee.
It pretty much is all of it, being on, or Republicans on the committee, and it comes out 7-4. That it would be on a party team.
Okay.
Like,
I think to that question, we've had discussions in chairs meetings about, actually posting the, vote in committee on the bills on our web pages.
Yeah.
Um,
that would be great.
Be one.
so I mean, I plan on doing that. I think other chairs like that idea too.
That would be
So
great.
it's
Because I think we get-
public transparent, they know who's voting yes and who's voting no, who's not there. Well,
Yeah, that'd be great. It's usually they end up calling somebody from that committee to say, oh, it came out, 8-3, and it's how many who voted no. When we send that out to them, that would be great. About that. Because when it's a vote committee, part of your committee, will report that on a piece of paper that stays in the law, so. And I see other people about someone.
I was just gonna say, Casey, you could seek out people that voted yes and ask them why they voted yes, too. We do have more parity now. This is the nuance.
Yes. Does anyone have a bill they submitted that they want to talk about today? My,
but yeah, a couple of things. First,
it's your.
thanks, Patty. I just want to invite anyone from our caucus who is interested in data privacy. We're providing time in the afternoons and evenings for people to sit down and understand the bill that's coming out. I know our members in our committee have done that. Tony has, Michael has, and Dave has, along with other committee members. And so we found it very helpful if anyone wants to sit down with some of my committee members and go through the bill to understand it, let me know. We'll set up a time for you to do that. Secondly, H34, which is a bill that's dealing with the Special Oversight Committee on Workforce and Education. That is the culmination of started in 21. This finishes that whole issue up. So it dealt with creating the Office of Workforce Strategy and Development. So we now have an executive director for workforce that sits under the governor. They answer directly to the governor. So what the bill does is separate the duties out between the Department of Labor, the Commissioner of the Department of Labor, and this new executive director. we're taking that bill up this week. I think we'll probably vote it out this week, so it could be on the floor either Friday or Tuesday. If you have questions, let me know. The people that were on the task force with myself, I chaired the task force, Senator Clarkson, Kendall Smith from the governor's office, and also Commissioner Harrington. We also had help from Adam Grenold, who at the time was the State Workforce Development Board Chair. July 1, State Workforce Development Board went away, been reconstituted to a much smaller board. It's gone from 63 to 27. But he did continue on to help us. Also, Ellen Kaler was there to assist us as well, as was my vice chair, Granny, and a few other people. So this is the language that's in there was developed by this task force, and so we're going to go through it and hopefully get it to the floor.
Just a question on the data privacy though, is it, the same language as last
No.
year's bill? Okay, so.
It's been gone over, more things that changed, within the bill, make it more, we listened to the business community again, continue to. Unfortunately, they haven't reached out to us yet, but we're hoping that we can still sit down with them and get this done here, so that it's, everybody's on board.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I got one question. Every state will have different laws as far as the privacy goes, data privacy goes. How do companies navigate that? Because Vermont say may let this information out or not let certain information out. New York may be different on what they do as far as or Arizona or Iowa or however.
A lot of them are based on either California, Connecticut. Ours has a blend of California, Connecticut. And, you know, as things progress, those bills get updated. And so we're trying to make sure that we're staying on top of that as well. But you're right, it's not easy for companies to access sometimes. That's why we try to stay as close to the other states as possible. And there's no model act out there. There's no model law. And it doesn't look like the federal government is interested in doing anything on that subject. So it's still left up to the states to develop their own privacy laws concerning data privacy. And this year also, the bill isn't going to be as expansive as it was last year. We removed the data broker section. That'll be a separate bill. We've also removed the kids code piece, and that'll be a separate bill as well. So things have been streamlined. I think it's going to be easier for everybody to understand. Last year's bill was pretty large and sometimes really hard to understand.
The bill number.
There isn't, we haven't submitted it yet. It will be submitted, but
Committee bill.
no, it won't be a committee bill. Should be out, I think, this week, probably, or next week.
The discussions, fine.
If you just touch base with me, then we'll set up, we're setting up work groups. People, you know, legislators to sit down and have those conversations. We're doing it with all caucuses. If people are interested, happy to sit down.
Does anyone have any other bills?
Go up there.
Yeah.
I actually have two bills. Most people in this room live in a municipality that has multiple apartments. And one of the problems that we have in Berry City is drug dealers doing business out of low income housing and apartments. They come up here, they prey upon people that have drug addiction. They set up shop in those houses. And then they get busted, and then they can come back to that place. So the people that are living in there that are not doing the drugs are suffering because they have to deal with the drug dealers going in. I think specifically of the Berry Manor, which I know somebody in there that was assaulted by one of these individuals that are not a resident of that building. So I have a bill that requires the state's attorney to actually put restrictions on individuals that are busted for drugs in a place that they are not a resident. They're not a tenant. These are people from Massachusetts that come up here, poison our communities. And then they're allowed to go back to these apartments because there's not restrictions. The bill will force the attorneys to do the restrictions. I know that this bill was submitted a couple of years ago and it was removed. And I think it is important to have it there. The other one that I have, and everybody's seen these because I've emailed them, but the other one is the 72-hour waiting period for gun shows. I think of, again, Berry City, which is where I'm from. We have a gun show that's put on by our Fishing Game Club in Berrytown. And they offer training for gun safety. I know that Gina probably knows there more than I do. But also she is. But they offer so much to our community for the gun safety, and they rely on this gun show to help fund their operations. And it's a super boon to Berry City. 4,000 people come in to go to this gun show, and having a 72-hour waiting period, it's probably gonna destroy the gun show. And I'm hoping that it won't work for this year, but hopefully we can get it passed for next year. So I have these two bills, and if you're interested, you can either click on the link that I sent, or you can see me and I'll let you sign in.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the purpose of that second bill is to kill the gun show?
No. So there was an exemption for the 72-hour waiting period for gun shows.
Yes.
It expired January 1st, 2025. I'm just putting the exemption back in. So that,
When the bill first came out, remember they put a 1 year, like a grace period, that the gun shows were exempt.
Yes.
We did it again last year. It passed the House, but died in the Senate.
right.
Okay. So this is that same bill.
He's looking to see if we could reinstate
Correct.
omitting gun shows from that wait period.
Somehow I got exactly the opposite message. So, thank you.
And I understand the reasoning why, they need it so that the 72-hour we can show their training. I get it. It just,
Say it.
it's not, the evidence doesn't prove that it makes any difference. So people that are going to gun shows are people that have guns. So they want another one, or they want to see what else is out there. Mr. Nelson?
So in your bill, I'm sure it states that you still have to do the, I always call it the yellow sheet. Go through the federal 24-hour. I mean, not the 24, the federal background check. And also, are you looking for an exemption? Because I think it should be.
Yes, there is no setting on it. And it only talks about the 72 hours for gun shows, period. It's just gun shows. I'm not advocating for removing the 72-hour. I think hopefully the Supreme Court will take care of it eventually.
Yeah, it's been great.
But, that being said, this is solely for gun shows in Vermont. Josh?
Still, that apply to any rental property, not just.
It actually applies to any dwelling that the person does not live in. So,
So it's a house, right where it is.
yes. Yes. It's, I mean, I doubt that.
You know, in the house. They don't. They not be.
It's any dwelling that they're not a tenant of. The state's attorney or has to put restrictions on it. Any other questions?
Anything else anyone would like to speak up?
Thank you, Patty. So I believe I have good news. General Housing has asked me to come in tomorrow and introduce H 57. A lot of you folks don't know it's the law enforcement survivors benefit. Last year, this bill made it through the House. In the end, it included Department of Corrections officers as well. It got lost in the Senate, never came back. I'm hoping again that it looks like it will be taken up. I reached out to Chris Ward. He's the Vermont State Representative for the New England Police and Development Association. They're on board, of course. Mark Anderson, I talked with him from the Sheriff's Association. They're on board. I've spoken with the treasurer. There currently isn't any money. Last year, there was $160,000 in that fund. You may remember last year, the amount went from a $50,000 award to a $80,000 award. My understanding is that money, there's been two, I believe it was firefighters that have lost their lives in the past year. So there's an issue as to where we can find some seed money to put into this again. But again, I think it's a positive sign that they're hopefully going to take it up again, and maybe we can get it across the finish line. Again, information from Chris Fuller in regards to other states. It looks like, Maine has $100,000 an amount adjusted by COLA. Massachusetts has a $300,000 non-taxable one. New Hampshire, $100,000. Rhode Island, 40% of the federal death benefits. Connecticut, $100,000, and Vermont, none. So again, you can see how, to me, this would be an effort to show, law enforcement that we do care. Hopefully, this will move forward. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other business to come before the Caucus? Just a reminder, I'm trying to get to the floor 10 minutes before 1. 12:15. Okay.